That is a little ditty that at least two-thirds of the people in this room know. Of course, that is the Genoa-Kingston fight song, and here to prove it is Dr. Chad Wagner, new superintendent of Sycamore Genoa-Kingston School District. Chad, welcome and congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
I assume you were the football coach. You come in, he's cut like make Dan and I feel like we're out of shape here. But you also brought Alicia. Alicia, tell who you are.
Yep, my name's Alyssa Edwards, and I'm the Director of Communications and Community Outreach.
So I'm saying your name wrong already immediately. So how do you say it again?
Alyssa.
Alyssa, not Alicia. Alicia.
Yeah.
Alyssa.
Alyssa, of course.
I'll call you Big A. How does that sound?
Okay.
So what do you set this up for us? So you help us to get to know.
Yes, yep.
We want to get to know Dr. Chad a little better, so we
Yes.
appreciate that. So we'll talk to you some more, but let's talk to Dr. Chad. Dr. Chad, I come from a family of teachers. To me, there's no finer profession. And I wonder about that. Did you teach? Tell us about how you end up in your position you're in now.
Yeah, so I went to the University of Northern Iowa for my undergrad and was an elementary education teacher.
Well, let me take you. Let's go back further. How about when you were a kid? Were you a good student? What were you like as a kid?
I was school always kind of came easy, but I wasn't the best kid for sure.
Okay.
I might have given some of my teachers and principals a run for their money, but I always liked it. Always loved kids growing up, so it was.
Was there a certain teacher that you emulated that you wanted to be like?
I had a high school teacher, Mr. Gamal, that was he really kind of paved the way for me. Really ignited the passion to get into education, and it was the alternative of either education or dental school. So
is that right?
That's correct.
Oh,
yep.
You picked the right choice. So what was his style, or what was it that set him apart? Because you immediately had that name.
Yes. So he was very direct. He kind of treated me like a person. And when you're a high school kid, you don't always feel like the teachers they see you, but they don't see into you. And
okay.
He was just real communicative. Really kind of put my needs first. He was just an excellent guy, and he made me think that the educational pathway was definitely a viable path for me to take.
Well, we're blessed for that. You heard about the dentist who married the manicurist?
Oh boy,
they've been fighting tooth and nail ever since. Yeah, here all week. I had to get that one. Whenever there's a dentist reference, I have to get that. So you went to Iowa. You said that then.
University of Northern Iowa. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then I went down to Kansas City for my first job, that area, and I taught third grade.
Tell us about that first day in third grade. What was that like for you?
It was fantastic. So I'm a coffee drinker, and I used to drink a pot of coffee before 9 o'clock when I was a teacher. And I'm an attention guy anyway in terms of energy, and I was like a BB in a boxcar just bouncing off the walls. So now it's 2 cups a day, but I absolutely loved it. Like I said, I wasn't even sure. I was a 5-year student. I wasn't sure that education was going to be for me, and I was like, wow, maybe I need to mull some other things over. And I went into student teaching and immediately loved it. So the rest is kind of history, and got into the classroom and enjoyed the heck out of it.
My mom used to say she had to be kind of tough the first couple of days because he'd always loosen up, but he can't go the other way. Is that how you did it with you? Did you kind of be tough at first and then loosen up a little bit?
There was always a thing that said never smile until Christmas. But I didn't really.
Wow, never smile till Christmas.
Yeah, that was what some of our instructors used to say in college. But I just had a rapport with kids pretty much immediately. I love that third grade. I also taught 5th grade and 6th grade, but third grade they come to you almost very. They mature and they evolve so much over the course of a year at third grade.
Yeah, even that year, because that's my mother taught third grade, and she said they were
nice.
they were little enough to do what you said,
yes.
But then they were like independent people, though.
Yeah,
too, as well.
And they always think that you live at school, so you see them out the grocery store or something, they're like, oh my gosh, there's Mr. Wagner or something like that. So, but yeah, I love the grade level.
All right, now tell us about your time at Genoa-Kingston. How do you get started there, and what was happening there?
So the reason I applied pretty much for one job, it was geography to start with, because I have 2 children. They now go to ISU. My son actually went to Northern Illinois for 2 years.
Wait, your kids are old enough to go to ISU? You look like you could go to college yourself right now.
Thanks, I appreciate it. But I have a face for radio for sure.
I didn't want to say that.
But yeah, my son's a senior at ISU, and my daughter I just dropped off, I think 2 weeks ago now, which was pretty emotional.
I bet,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, so they're both down at ISU right now, and it's great to have them there. But I got married in February, and a wonderful woman who lives up in the Janesville area.
Shout out to the missus. Who's that now?
Yeah, her name's Kristen Wagner.
Okay, very good.
She's actually on vacation with her friends right now. So
See how he smiled? Alicia and I were laughing how you smiled when you said that. It was good.
I'm blessed to have her, that's for sure. But it was pure geography, like I said, being an empty nester now. Applied to Genoa. I knew they had a great educational reputation. Interviewed with the board, and it's like a radio talk show. I think it's you have a conversation with them, and you just kind of be yourself, and I don't think you I want to sugarcoat everything, anything during any interview. I want to be, one of my favorite mantras is hate me for who I am, don't like me for who I'm not.
Okay.
And so I just
try to lay it all out there.
Absolutely, because this is who I am, and take me if you like me, and don't if you don't. And so being there has been just an awesome sort of reinvigoration of my career, because, I was in a great district for 10 years down in the Peoria area. I loved it, but after 10 years, the situation presented itself, like I said, empty nester, new marriage. It was time for a change for me. And so I'm blessed to have gotten the position at Genoa-Kingston. The students are remarkable. The staff has been amazing. And the Board of Education has been quite simply great. It's just been an awesome experience so far.
I hope your wife's not a Packer fan. That would be a problem.
It's a real big problem. So the past few years that we've been together, obviously the Bears have not had such a good record against the Packers, losing 10 out of the last, 10. So we have a little wager every time, and I've been wearing some unfortunate clothing options in that period.
Well, Rogers is gone. It's a whole new beginning. We'll get another time.
Let's hope so.
So then you taught at GK, or what after then how'd you get the administrative side?
No, so from being a teacher when I was down in the Kansas City area, my buddy and I were contemplating whether or not to create a lawn care business or go get our master's degree.
Boy, you've had big choices in your life. I love that.
It was. So we decided to pursue the master's degree. I went to Northwest Missouri State down there. We got that in 13 months, and I really had no ambitions to go into administration, but after that experience, I was like, well, we can impact more kids that way. And I ended up getting my first marriage. I moved to Minnesota for a year, taught 5th grade, and then moved to Illinois, where I taught 3rd grade and then 6th grade for a couple more years, and then got my first position as a principal. Did that for 2 years, and then got another principal position where it was assumed that I was going to assume a superintendent. So then I went to ISU and got my superintendency.
Wow.
Yeah. And then became the superintendent of that small district down in the Bartonville area, which is a suburb kind of Peoria. And then I got a job as the superintendent of Elmwood, which is where I was for the previous 10 years. And then again, like I mentioned, went through these big life changes with my kids both being gone and getting married again, and applied for Genoa just because then it would be close. My wife she does a lot of work in Beloit. She's an interior decorator. So moved, took that job, that interview, if you will, and just had an immediate connection with the board. You just kind of feel chemistry in all your relationships, but I really did feel connected to them. We just had a great, easy kind of communication pattern between us, and I was lucky enough to be offered the job, and I accepted.
And what kind of a principal were you? Because when I went to Notre Dame School for Boys, we had a guy, Masharka, we called him the Shark. He was always out looking for people smoking in the parking lot and stuff. But he was a hardcore guy, but then he'd lighten up occasionally, and that made us appreciate that. But as a principal, were you pretty tough? Or
I think I was tough, fair, consistent, but I always tried to be like that Mr. Gamal that I referenced earlier. I wanted to be able to talk with kids, not at them. I didn't want to be overly punitive or just arbitrarily impose things that didn't make sense. You have to deal with every situation, and on its own merit. I really like the interaction with the kids. I like the parents, the teachers. I just try to be me.
And it's a different world now, isn't it? Because I can communicate with you. As a parent, used to be at to wait for the kids to bring the report card home, and now we get that instant communication, don't we?
Yeah. It's definitely a different world. We teach the whole child, I think, nowadays. We have to make sure that we are considering everything. If there's one thing I learned from the whole COVID experience is that mental health is a significant player in all of our kids' lives, and we have to make sure that we're addressing the needs of the whole child, so to speak. It's not just reading, writing, arithmetic like they used to say. It's making sure that we're affording every child the opportunity to feel safe, to feel comfortable, and be able to be themselves as well.
That balanced wheel. We had somebody here talking about that. You got to have your work life, your personal life, and you got to keep it all
absolutely. And it's not just for kids too. We have to make sure that our staff's feeling that as well.
Let's talk about some numbers here. I was just looking at this. I'm on the Genoa-Kingston website. Graduation rate, though, it jumps at me 95% at the high school. And that's, we're hearing some atrocious numbers from schools throughout the state of Illinois. And to hear something like that is just so impressive.
Yeah, I think that's an attribute and a definite feather in the cap of our staff, of our students, and of our community. We have great parents that support our schools, and we have amazing teachers that are able to, like I've said the whole time, make those students feel like they're a part of a family, if you will.
And administrative people like the big A over here. Tell us about how did you end up doing what you're doing?
Yep, yeah. So I've been with the school district for a year and a half now, and I communicate with our community, with our families, with our staff, sending out emails, making videos, setting up things like this today.
Well, that's what we're talking about, because now, we used to have to wait for the report card to come home, but now the parents have instant communication. I can talk to my teacher, right, if I need to, or my child's teacher.
Yep,
So.
and actually we just launched our refreshed app, the GK Cogs app, and through that, parents can now communicate with their teachers all in one location, which is called Rooms.
Okay, that's great. Boy, that's wonderful. And how do you like doing what you're doing?
Oh, I love it. It's awesome. Every day is something different. I get to go into the buildings and take pictures maybe of what third grade kids are doing, or I'm creating a video of a principal. It's just all awesome, and I love it.
And you get feedback from the kids, I'm sure, because, we talk to kids from Genoa doing podcasts and stuff, and boy, it's hard to keep track of what they're doing, isn't it?
Oh, yes, yeah. Our students also do the GK News. They just started this year. Every Friday, they're doing the morning announcements.
Okay.
It's, live streamed, I should say, put that in quotes. It will be live streamed at some point.
All right.
We're working towards that.
Well, we'd love to have them on here. Can you get them on with the station?
yeah.
We'd
Oh,
love
yeah,
to have,
yeah.
It
We'll
could be
have to do
future
that.
radio stars. Who knows?
Yes.
We're excited about that. And then the one I'm really impressed with, Dr. Chad, is the student-teacher ratio, 17-1. That's a good ratio, isn't that?
It's a great ratio. And again, our board is supportive of everything that we're trying to accomplish, which student success is probably the number one priority that we have. So, absolutely.
And of course, the teachers, I think the fact that you were a teacher before, does that help you, what you do now?
Oh, absolutely. If you don't have the perspective of being in the classroom and understanding, I think it would make it a heck of a lot more difficult.
And what do you say to the teachers? Because obviously a tough time to be a teacher, but you've talked about the rewards through your lifetime as a teacher. But what do you tell them when they're first starting out?
Yeah, so that's that you should bring that up, because one of our main goals at Genoa this year is to make sure that the staff feels like GK is not just a stepping stone; it's a destination. And we want people to make sure that they feel like they're a part of that GK family. We want them to stay, and we have to make sure that we're creating a culture that puts them, first, makes sure that they feel important, that they feel like they're a huge part of a team that they want to be a part of for a lot of years.
Oh, well put there. And Big A, I want to point out that I follow you guys on Facebook as well, and I see we have a new assistant principal, don't we, over at the Genoa-Kingston?
Oh, yep. Jaime Cadengo. He's awesome.
Okay.
One cool thing about him, a little story about him, is that he has this little rolling cart, and he's been outside of his office every day talking to students in the hallway as they're passing and stuff. So it's really cool. Yeah, he has like a little movable office.
I love that communication with the students. That's wonderful. And I see you're hiring too, right? If somebody wants to be a teacher, perhaps they can...
Teachers, everything that we
administrative
can get.
as well.
Absolutely, we really need bus drivers. So
Yes.
anybody who wants to come out and help us drive buses and get the kids to school, hey, come check us out for sure.
Yeah, we have a little problem here in DeKalb with that, but we'll leave that one alone as well. And then I also want to point out, you have this posted here. She's A now. She was a big A, now it's just A. But the music department, right? They have more kids joining the music department, is that right?
Yes.
How exciting is that?
Oh, it's awesome. Mr. Drews, he's our band teacher. This is his second year here, and he's really growing the program. It's amazing to see how many students now are involved, and just the level that the students are taking it, and our Mr. Drews as well.
Oh, very good. And finally, Dr. Chaddock, obviously you're athletic yourself here, but we know how important athletes are to the community. And, of course, they're honoring the football coach, Dave Russell, who unfortunately passed away last year. How wonderful to be able to do that. And the kids really get a perspective on what they're doing, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Phil Jerby's our athletic director.
Yeah, Phil's a great guy.
Yeah, he's been there. I mean, I'm not going to tell him that too much. But, he does a fantastic job communicating. I alluded to the transportation issues. He's having to work a lot of miracles. We had lost our first game opponent. And he's done a great job of trying to make sure to get those kids that opportunity so that we won't lose that on our schedule. But yeah, what a terrific honor to make that happen, not only for the students, but in the memory of that coach. So
yeah, I lost my father at a young age, and my coaches were my dad, so I know what it means to lose a coach like that.
Absolutely, yeah. The coaches in my life have been really important, as the teachers, as I mentioned, and yeah, they always seem pretty good at giving you that healthy dose of reality and honesty, too.
His name is Dr. Chad Wagner. He is the superintendent of Genoa-Kingston School District. We're blessed that you are. And the Big A, say your name again one more time.
Alyssa Edwards.
Alyssa, I don't know why I make it so hard, Alyssa, but we appreciate what you do, and we look forward to working with you all summer long. Not summer long, all school year long. Thank you guys both for what you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our visit with our friends from the Genoa-Kingston School District.